Welcome to the
Mic check, mic check.
You sure? Here. It was like, I've had a whole hour to eat that and I haven't ate it yet.
Sneaking food and shit. Mic check, mic check. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Infusion Breakdown Show. It's Joshua Freeman. We got Brian Carey. We got Desmond Tillman. We got special guest Watson. How you guys doing today?
Wonderful. You got to get his name right.
You saying like we didn't have over 5
No, you remember when he had
Miss Matt?
Yeah. Wait, who?
You called Matt Miss Matt.
Nah. It was he had somebody to his left and somebody to his right, and he kept mixing them up. I think it was the day when we had the Yaya dude. What's his name? Matt.
Yeah.
And then who was to his? Because he had somebody else with him.
Leanne was here that episode. It was Leanne and Matt, I think.
Fuck it. Never mind. We can continue.
Okay, we're going to continue, guys. So we have a good discussion for you guys today, as always.
Always.
The question we have... It's on the docket. The question we have is on the docket. Given its origin, should Thanksgiving be celebrated? What do you guys think? Remember, comment below, let us know, okay? Also, don't forget about the timestamps in the description below. Brian did a good job putting them down there every episode, so check them out, okay? Who wants to start with this?
Well, I'm going to offer this up to Watson first. Would you like to answer the question first, or you just want to join in after we get in rotation?
Well, I think like it comes down to like a letter of law versus spirit of the law situation. Like we give speeding tickets not for the people that go 5 or 10 over, although you're technically speeding. It's just like comes down to, like what you should and shouldn't do versus what is actually legal or not. And I think it's kind of like if you take that logic and kind of juxtaposition it to this, it's what's the spirit of Thanksgiving versus what's the actual meaning. And I'm not really sure I know or understand like where that line kind of is. Because you see a lot of pushback with Columbus Day and stuff in recent years, but the Thanksgiving's like sacred. No one ever touches Thanksgiving. So maybe I'll have a different opinion at the end of the show, but right now at least I'm really not sure where to go with this one.
Okay. Desmond?
So when it comes to Thanksgiving, like, how do you approach it? Because I guess why I don't really have like a solid opinion on it, because I understand the facts, but at the same time, it's not one of those things where facts are applied every, fourth Thursday of November. Like, it's not like we're coming together and we're celebrating, pilgrimage or whatever it may be. It's like we celebrate family. Where it's like if you think about holidays like Christmas, where it's actually celebrated in its entirety, whether it's on the religious aspect or if it's on like the decorative aspect, it's always celebrated. Whereas, Thanksgiving for some people is just a time to actually spend time with family. Like the whole give thanks, which I guess you could say would be like the spirit of Thanksgiving versus what the actual factual is. Actual factual. I like that. So that's where I would draw the line, because I think we're kind of as a society straying away from what the original status quo was with just about everything. So I think we're at this point where we can actually, say, hey, like I understand what Thanksgiving represents, but this is how I view it. Not to just sit here and say, oh, so I'm erasing history or I'm not acknowledging history. I'm now saying that I acknowledge what it is, but I don't celebrate it as such. I acknowledge it as, an unfortunate term of events in our history, but present day 2019 going into 2020, I look at Thanksgiving as a time to, spend time with family that, potentially 360 to, 63 days out of the year, I don't get to spend time with them. Because really the only 2 times that you really have that true, genuine family time is the 11th month and the 12th month of the year. And that's Christmas and Thanksgiving. So I think it's more or less just like the whole family aspect that has just, and the togetherness aspect that is just kind of drawn out or drawn away from what, the origin of these holidays once were. Because I still, enjoy the feel and the jerriness that comes at Christmas, but I don't celebrate it for, Jesus Christ. You know, have y'all seen the video of the it's like this Latino dude. He's like, Jesus Christ, I love you, God. No, okay.
Nah, you got to show it to me.
We gotta. I gotta show it to you. It's hella funny, but I think that's just my. It's not even a thing. That's just what my position on it is today, because I know you can easily think back to the 60s and the 50s with your Malcolm X rhetoric and all of that. But I mean, at that point where more advanced as a society to where we're allowed to have our opinions, whether it be beneficial or not.
Does origin matter?
Origin always matters. That's why I say you can always look at what the actual factual is, but you can also still turn around and say, evolution, I've evolved. This is how I look at it now. What the origin of something is doesn't necessarily mean that I have to follow it as such.
Okay, I agree with that.
In a society as complex as the one we live in, a large part of our traditions all comes down to ownership. It is what you make it. So kind of like what you said, like if you're celebrating the togetherness, that aspect of the holiday, that's what most people do. And so even so, like you said with Christmas, you have a large percentage of people who don't celebrate any religious context of the holiday, but they celebrate the togetherness and the gift giving. And it's a certain feel in the time of the year that's not present other times.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You don't think that's ignorance? Just not acknowledging?
If you're not taking my approach, then yeah. Like, I'm educated on what the origin of Thanksgiving is, but I don't choose to weep every Thursday in November or the fourth Thursday in November just because of what its origin is. I think it's just an acknowledgement thing.
No, the question isn't
should it be celebrated?
No, the question isn't should you cry every Thanksgiving.
But I think it is something though that warrants like an emotional reaction though, because you kind of have to acknowledge what truly happened during that time. You agree? To an extent?
So I think about, did everybody in grade school have to do that thing where they made everybody make like the little pilgrim hats out of paper and like the very racist Indian feathers and stuff? Like, I don't know, like you were saying like it's about what you celebrate and stuff, and you mentioned, acknowledging origin, and then I just instantly like thought about in grade school how like we were doing that whole little if you even want to call it educational spiel about the origin of Thanksgiving and stuff, and yeah, I don't disagree. It's like with spending time with family and eating good food and seeing people you don't get to see often, but it's like that's just stuff that just makes me a little bit uncomfortable. It's not like I'm not sure I'd go as far as to say it's memorializing it or whatnot, but it's definitely, I think that kind of erodes the actual history of it a bit if we're doing stuff like that with our kids. And
in the sense of what is done in grade school, or in the sense of the family togetherness aspect?
One sense of the education on it in grade school. And
because I feel like I was educated in grade school, in public school. They did, so a lot of times the public school system gets a lot of crap, but at least the classes that I took AP history, maybe that has something to do with it.
Well, we're not talking about like high school when they actually can start. We're talking about like grade school. Like if you think about grade school, like you said,
I consider grade school K through 12.
Well, elementary school,
we're talking most of like my elementary school.
Yeah.
But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but at that point, do you really think something like that is in a small child's like that comprehension? Like the sheer magnitude of exactly what happened, because like we talked about the Trail of Tears of smallpox, like what happened with that, and then also like King Philip's Wars, all the things that happened to them.
Are you saying the history that we're taught in elementary school we're not comprehensive to it, or that we don't?
No, I'm asking you, like all this stuff, like everything that happened transpired in our country's history. Do you think that it is comprehensible for a small child, like in second or third grade?
Oh, for them to learn it?
Yeah.
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 You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think we got to stop putting shackles on children and then expecting them to inquire their own information as time progresses.
It wasn't that bad. Yeah, he whooped them, but it wasn't like a lot.
Only on Tuesdays.
I mean, I don't think you have to go on like on a collegiate level curriculum of how you teach Thanksgiving, or the relationship between Native Americans and early settlers, but I think at the same time you kind of have to address what the truth is instead of trying to make it seem like there was this unionship that might have existed for a little bit of time, but is obviously drowned out by the atrocities that occurred with it.
That's my point. There's a gradient. So like the initial exposure, sure, but like the degree that I was educated later on, I don't think that is something that needs to be totally present in its totality up front. Like if you talk about it, sure, fine, but like like I said, just the extent we went into it.
I don't think, like I said, I don't think we need to, open the whole can of worms on like the history of it itself. But I think that there's like, like we've been touching on, like origin has been like a hot topic for this episode. It's like I think you still need to explain the origin of something.
Right.
I mean, and even then, like to introduce something like the Trail of Tears to kids in their 3rd and 4th grade, whatever it may be, like that's not necessarily something that's truly graphic to where you get the full picture, but it doesn't falsify a relationship it doesn't falsify something to make the relationship look fruitful.
It presents the totality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that's all I'm saying.
What you were saying about children's comprehension, I do believe that like for the most part, most people are more capable than we believe they are. So even like kids, like there's stuff that's certainly that we might perceive to be outside of their grasp, but they're definitely capable of catching up to. But it's a matter of should you at that point in time. So like if you said like you want to introduce them to it and it's not that graphic to the point, then why not?
You don't think that's actually helpful for the kid to be?
No, I said it is helpful.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was thinking.
I'm saying like you don't need to drop everything on them.
Oh, okay.
But general exposure, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
You don't do anyone any justice when you deliver one side of a story at all.
I agree.
I mean, just think about like how often we learn about the Civil War or just the world wars throughout history. Like there was no problem teaching that stuff to us when we were younger. So what is wrong with teaching the atrocities that have occurred within our society that are then celebrated? Like that, there's nothing wrong with that. There's always going to be a step 1, step 2, step 3 as far as like the learning in which it it comes to you, but at the same time to like I keep saying, like to provide an image that isn't necessarily telling the full story or telling the story at all. I mean, I think that just, I'm not gonna say it does damage to the kids, but I think it sets a false precedent.
Yeah, certainly.
Every time. And I think that's like at times where you get like that distrust within the public school system, because I feel like there's no doubt in your mind that as you get older and you gain more access to the internet and you're allowed to get mom and dad's permission to be able to search the World Wide Web at your leisure, you're gonna search stuff like that. Like I can tell you, I was a history buff all the way throughout high school and stuff, and I used to just spend time on Wikipedia. I know it wasn't like once we got into college it was frowned upon, but like the early 2000s, or I'm not gonna say early, but from like 2006 to 2010, I used to just be up there reading about like all the dictators and truly learning like the origin of where they at and then what went wrong. Mm-hmm. Like I've always been like, for whatever reason, I've had like a fascination with dictatorships, and I always try and understand the whole picture rather than just what grade school or what, for your example, high school teaches us. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with like opening the book, but how much information you provide the children, I think that's something that you would generally attest to, where you don't want to truly paint the atrocities that happen in society to kind of normalize it. Mm-hmm. But more or less for like information purposes, like informative.
Yeah, but when it comes to Thanksgiving, though, I don't think it should be celebrated. I do, for your point, when you're saying that a lot of families use it as a time to get together, and I do believe that. But I'm not saying you should just like erase the holiday altogether, but you just should change, basically evolve with the holiday.
Exactly, and I think the biggest flaw with Thanksgiving in itself is the give thanks narrative that's pushed on. Like give thanks to being able to, or give thanks for whatever it is you have, or give thanks to your family members. I think that's when it comes to the point where you're kind of like straying away from the origin of, what, or I'm not gonna say the origin, but straying away from the informative aspect of what Thanksgiving was, originally for. Like I think at that point you kind of, I mean, I guess.
So are you saying it's bad?
Yeah, I think I'm misplacing my words on that one. Because obviously it is the whole give thanks, and I think the whole giving thanks initiative kind of sweeps under the rug.
No, I understand.
You're saying, I understand what you
cool.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was following.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. No, yeah.
Like you value the importance of what we currently do, which is celebrating the togetherness. But when you just focus on that, you do exactly what you said the public school system does. You erase the whole side of it.
Yeah.
You're being selfish. You're not thinking about what actually happened. What do you think?
So you said you don't think you should celebrate it?
No, I think it should be changed to. I mean, of course, you should celebrate it, but you shouldn't be about the Native Americans giving, being peaceful with the pilgrims and everything like that. You know, it should be changed as far as the origin, because we could talk about Columbus Day too, but like the origin should be changed because like the basically how we celebrate it should be changed because of the origin, and. There's nothing wrong. You don't have to change the name either. You can keep it Thanksgiving, and you can make it about being thankful, even though the very next day you go out and you want to buy stuff at cheaper price. Anyway,
thankful for the same.
It's weird, but you can keep it as the same name, but just change the history of it, basically. So make things better. What do you think?
I think we've all come to a consensus for the most part.
About what, changing?
Yeah, about being properly educated on the origin of it, not ignoring that, but also embracing the togetherness and giving it a new meaning. I think that's what I feel is the right thing to do moving forward.
Okay. You agree, Watson?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much on the same page there. It's you can't change what happened. You can't change anything about it. And you can't change, the history of the relationship between settlers and Native Americans. So your only option is to just keep in mind that something bad happened and just move forward without disrespecting that.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything to say about the discussion? Desmond?
What if November was Native American History Month? Like you just flip it on its head. Because I don't think you have a Native American. Is there
Indigenous
Native American
people's history? Maybe.
So what?
Is there an Indigenous People History Month?
It's not a history month, no. It might be a day, but it's not a history month.
That's what some people alternatively call Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day.
Okay, that's what. That might be it, actually. But
the whole month thing is kind of.
Then they're gonna be like, so I mean, just a month. Like, why is Black History?
No, I'm just thinking like the whole month thing is kind of.
November is Native American Heritage Month.
Oh, it is.
Oh, Native American Heritage Month. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good enough.
Somebody.
So you're proposing that would be, or you're saying it would be ironic?
Ironic how?
The fact that Native American history Native American History Month and Thanksgiving coincided. Were you saying that was ironic? Or
I'm saying
it should
you
be
should
that
just
way?
flip it and like entirely on its head and make it that way.
And celebrate the people who were here first.
Yeah, celebrating Native Americans. Yeah.
I think the irony would be like President's Day being in February.
Wait, say that one more time?
I think the true irony is like President's Day being in February.
Why you say that?
Because for a lot of like our nation's history, slavery was endorsed by our nation's presidents up until like, we're not even gonna say Abe Lincoln, but till Abe Lincoln.
Yeah, with the formal emancipation, excuse me. And it was actually a document that I read where Lincoln had said if he could have prevented the succession of the South without freeing a single Negro or a single slave, black, whatever terminology he used, he would have done it. Yeah. It was a means of getting the North on one accord. It's the same thing where Abe Lincoln was the one who signed the document to make Thanksgiving a national holiday. And that was in 1861, I believe. And so the idea behind that is that was right when the Civil War had started. So from there, I was able to come to the conclusion myself. I think that it was more so like a unifying effort. It was Abe Lincoln's attempt to like imbue a sense of patriotism among us to keep the South and the North in harmony with one another.
Okay.
So it's more so, I feel like, a strategic move. Much so like the Emancipation Proclamation. Emancipation Proclamation, excuse me. Josh, I know you ain't about to give me shit.
No, I was just trying to. I was making sure you knew the name.
Messed up the intro.
I was making sure you knew the name. Be cool. But if nobody else has anything to add for this discussion, we're gonna wrap it up. What do you guys think, though? Should Thanksgiving be celebrated? Let us know, okay? I mean, do you get together on Thanksgiving just for the food? No, that's what a lot of people do. Just
Yeah, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
I don't have one.
You don't?
No.
Do you guys not have dinner?
No, we do. I just don't really care for it.
Okay.
What is yours?
Mine, I'm a mashed potatoes kind of guy.
What the hell?
I just love mashed potatoes.
You, Doug?
Um,
I should say macaroni and cheese.
yeah, baked mac and cheese is the.
Yeah, I guess.
That's a winner. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was just about to give you slack for being a side dish for the main, but I will say the one thing that will top macaroni and cheese is like a well seasoned or marinated turkey, like that. The turkey can make or break the whole function.
What about yams?
Man, goodbye.
Sweet potato casserole is my jam. There's nothing dinner about that. It's all dessert disguised as dinner, and that's what's great about it.
I'm still down.
That's another thing too. So we talked about like the context and like how we celebrate it. So like, what's your favorite part about celebrating Thanksgiving?
It's the family being together, really.
You good?
My man said mashed potatoes, though. Every week you amaze me.
I mean, it is what it is.
You like sour cream on your mashed potatoes?
I don't.
That's a thing.
Sour cream? on mashed
It is.
People do.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess you put it in baked potatoes. Oh, I guess that makes sense.
I don't typically do it. I mean, it's good. I'll eat it, but like the way my grandfather makes it is not sour cream.
It's too mushy.
Too much what?
Too much mush right there. I don't know. Sour cream on your mashed potatoes? Nah.
Well, when y'all get a baked potato, y'all don't mash it first?
I don't eat baked potatoes.
I typically make a sweet potato mash. I'll bake a bunch of them and then scrape them out, and then I'll add like the milk, the
Like,
butter.
I don't
brown
even
sugar.
scrape it out. Like, I'll take my fork and I'll, like, mash it before I do anything with it. Like, I'll put some butter in there just so it's not, like, dry potato
Just
being mashed with a
starchiness.
fork. Yeah, like, oh, well, okay.
But what are you guys' favorite dish? Comment, let us know, okay?
Mashed potatoes.
Do you have an album of the
Yeah,
week?
yeah. So, my album of the week, I was actually listening to it over here. It's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye. I think that was just ranked the #1 album of the decade for the 2010s, or the 10s, whatever you want to call it.
I don't want to prolong the episode, but why not his new album? Okay. All right, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked today's discussion, and we'll see you guys next week. Okay. Peace.